Good morning, and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning, Friday, the 8th of May, the day we've been waiting for, because it's the day that Martin O'Neill will speak to the media. And I wonder what interesting questions he will get asked by the Scottish mainstream media this morning. Well, it'll be probably around, I think there's about 1:30 that they do the press conferences. Questions he will get at Celtic Park, but there is some other news regarding Celtic. Before we get into the news from the safe standing area, we know the absolute disaster of a PR stunt that this has been for Celtic. They haven't put anything out public, but they have contacted people that stand within that section again. But first of all, I want to look at the prices, and it's unbelievable that Celtic are charging. I mean, you would think that when it comes, and I know that women football, they get paid nowhere near the same, and you would think that, would it be fair that the women's top's cheaper than the men's top? Obviously not. Celtic see is all equal, just the same people to rip off. When you look at the prices of the new shirts at Celtic Park, the new tops, £75 for the Celtic home shirt. And then you can get, when did they start this nonsense? And then you can get the men's authentic home shirt. That's unbelievable. It was always just a case you got the home top. Now you're getting an authentic home top, or you're getting the home top. It's like, are you going out or are you going out? You get the long sleeve shirt. I've not bought one for years, but I always like the long sleeve shirt ones now and again. It's nice to see that they've brought them back. But that's £80 just because you've got half an arm. That's an extra £5 for the full length arms. Thank you, dear. Right, look, it's 75 quid for that, and then you add the full length arms on it, and they've added an extra £5 on. It's because it's got long full arms. Thank you for the coffee. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? And then 38 quid for the shorts. If you're a full kit wanker, as they say. But then you can have it. You can have a junior home shirt with or you can have the men's shirt with no sponsor. I would rather prefer it with no sponsor, because I think with Daffabet written over it takes away from the shirt, doesn't it? But anyway, the kids ones, the infant, a baby. I mean, 50 quid for a Wayne, as they say. And then they've got the Cinderella socks. They always have them as a ballet dancer pose. I don't know why they do that at Celtic, but they say there's still the sale on for the season that we're still part of. Yes. Let's see if there's any of these left. Nope, there's only extra small. So yeah, the Not Another Penny campaign seems to be doing fantastic. The fact that Celtic have run out of stock when it comes to certain merchandise. Right, let's kick on. Just say good morning to everyone that's in the chat, first of all. I have two boys, that would be 150 just for tops for them. I actually prefer the training stuff, says Kev this morning. Now, we all know what happened with a certain part of Celtic Park. They've been there since the standing section was put in place the way that it is. What was it, 2018 or something? Can't remember. 2017, maybe? 16? Can't remember. It was a while back now anyway. But Celtic have been in touch with the people that they sent the letters out to. And this is where it just gets even worse as a PR stunt for Celtic. I'll read this out to you. It says, Dear, the rail seating section update. This was posted on the Celtic Research Twitter line. It says, following the recent communication to you regarding our proposed relocation programme. Yeah, it wasn't put out as a proposed, was it? We wanted to provide you with a further update. Firstly, we apologise sincerely for any confusion or lack of clarity around this process, and for any upset it caused you. Your support for the club is hugely important to us, and it's never taken for granted. That's a load of nonsense. We recognise your long-standing commitment to the club, and we want to do all we can to ensure that you are back with us next season. We want to be as open, clear and transparent as possible and outline a number of important points. First one, already through this process, we have found out that a number of supporters wish to relocate out of the rail seating section. However, we fully understand that many fans, such as yourself, will not wish to. We want to be very clear that through this relocation programme, we are able to confirm that your seat for next season will remain within the rail seating section. Should you wish this to be the case, albeit seating arrangements will change, so you could stay in the rail seating section, but you're not going to have your seat just above the stairwell. You're going to get moved maybe further up the top of the standing section, maybe to the side. Don't know. Celtic are unsure. This was our intention since our original communication. Significant work has been ongoing, and we are able to achieve this. The decision to carry out this relocation was very much based on safety reasons. Told you, they want the ultras out of that section next to the main stand. The issue of persistent standing in football is not a new one. However, when it's undertaken as a large group, which can and does on occasions move in unison, it can rise to safety concerns. That this was a large part of the reason for the introduction of the rail seating section in the first place. No, it wasn't, Celtic. There was very little movement to the old standing section when the Green Brigade were just up in that little section. There was very little migration from other parts of the stadium then. There was some, but very little. And the stewards and everything. The fact is that Celtic didn't like the fact that when the Green Brigade were up in the top little part of the ground, the club didn't like the fact that the stewards were too friendly with a lot of people in that area, and it disillusioned the club. They didn't like it. They didn't want the safety stewarding to be overly friendly with fans. It's amazing. The decision to carry out the relocation was very much based on safety reasons. The issue of persistent standing in football is not a new one. Blah, 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 blah. Rail seating systems, for the first instance, was to take this into consideration and the safety of supporters in the wider sense. Considering that this opportunity provides for additional levels of safety for both the supporters and offers moving those who wish to remain in the southwest corner, and it remains a seated area. So they're now blaming other fans. It's typical politician stuff, isn't it? Put fan on fan. So they're now blaming other fans in the southwest corner. We didn't want those ultras banging their drums above us and making noise and singing. It's not on. We want to sit down in peace and quiet. As well as addressing those safety concerns that has been recognised by the supporters groups. This move can be an important factor in improving matchday atmosphere and experience within Celtic Park. There's two agendas getting played out here. There's the agenda of, we know that the ultras want the standing section behind the Celtic goals, you know, the home end, the Celtic end. They want to create a standing section in that area, and they're kind of playing that off as a reason to move both groups together. But Celtic have went, well, we can play that game too. We'll just move people out of the top section of the standing section that have no affiliation to the Green Brigade. We'll move them out. We'll just tell them they're moving. We're moving them somewhere else. And we'll put the other group of ultras that used to be in that section, we'll put them back in there. It's turning fan on fan, isn't it? It is a very Celtic have learned absolutely nothing over the last 2 years, and they've learned nothing over the last 6 months when it comes to communicating with the fans. Because you would think that they would shout out to the fans in question. Mind you, when it came to the standing section, you were given the opportunity then. You either stay in the standing section or and you'll have a metal seat that will be locked up during European games and locked down when it's not European games. So like it or lump it. And a lot of people say, oh, bugger that, I'm moving anyway. So yeah, the relocation decision was only taken very recently prior to our season ticket launch. Due to the timescale involved, we were not able to delay our wider season ticket renewal programme because we'd already delayed it a week because we cocked up and we're trying to get other stuff done that we're not telling you about. To reiterate, it's got a big capital highlighted. You will be guaranteed a season ticket at Celtic Park next season if you wish to remain in the rail section. The rail section. Just call it the standing section. The rail seating. Once again, we want to acknowledge and appreciate everything you have given to the club. Obviously, recognise that these decisions can cause real disappointment. Jesus, sound like Rangers. We want to work with all our supporters to find solutions. That is our commitment. A little bit of love bomb at the end. Yeah. We want to stress that our immediate priority is now to provide you with the best possible option for next season. To help us find the best possible option for you, we have already, please contact us on email, railseating@celticfc.co.uk. We will do all we can to assist you. Please bear with us as we work our way through the renewal window. You're important, but you're not that important. So it is just another... It's just another thing that Celtic have mucked up over the recent couple of weeks. Let's jump into some of the comments for this one. Yes, Peter. Well, it was more the fact that I was running late. Yeah, stop moaning. We love to moan. Another exodus of fans. I don't think so. Surely there's something that states season ticket is for life. No, there isn't, mate. A season ticket isn't for life. A season ticket is for that season, and if you don't renew it, that's it. Don't know. And it's there's nothing in the terms and condition that says that seat is yours for life. Nada. It's therefore you're the occupant of said seat for one season and one season only, as per the terms and conditions. That's that. When I used to get a top, it was long sleeve and no sponsors. Says Gabboy. The Oasis about Celtic fans and most fickle, ungrateful in the land. Whoa, woo! That's a bit of a. Woo! That's a bit of a That's a bit of a hit to all other fans. Jesus, God, it's no wonder you've not got your name up. You'd be hunted down in Celtic Park. So nobody sitting next to you knows that you're the one that said it. It was him, wasn't it? It was him. Transparency and Celtic don't go together, says Paul. Good morning to you, mate. And yeah, it's Celtic and transparency is just... They must go into work and just go, all right, what's happening in the day then? We've had an email. Oh, fuck, who from? It's from the boys section. They fancy a move. Michael, they fancy a move beside the other ultras. Fucking get it done. Come on, get it done. Hurry up. That's it. Just send the letters out. Come on, man. Get them out of that corner. That's it. Fine. Right, that's my job done for the day. Right. Oh. Where's the coffee? That's Michael Nicholson's day done and dusted at work. It was to just give the order. Yeah, just move them. That's it. Fine. No regards of the fans that are there. No thinking of the fans that are there, but it is what it is with Celtic, isn't it? Half price for half a view. Spent more time in the game watching the wee television. more than the live game. Weird one. On their phones. Safety concerns, just an excuse for the club to use is that if you buy a season ticket, you're generally guaranteed the same seats every year. But if you have the same age band and category, however, it can vary by club and specific season ticket policies, says Kevin. I know that when I tried to move seats and I phoned up the ticket office, they were like, no, we can't move you. And I'm like, why not? Because you're classed as one of them. And I'm like, what? But anyway, it all happens. It all happens. That statement is just a load of nonsense, to be honest, is Paul Bird. Is that when Celtic fans are not fickle, we pay our money. Back the team, so shut up, mate, says Peter King. Yeah, I would agree with you, Peter. I mean, like I said, I mean, I've got lots of mates that spend a small fortune on Celtic, and they're now taking their kids to the games as well. You know, they've expanded. They may not be going to as many away European ties as they used to, but whilst everyone else does, they've having kids and stuff. Serves them right, mad, crazy. But they buy their kids season tickets and then kit out their kids in Celtic merch. So yeah, Celtic fans, they may be fickle in the way of in the eyes of some people, but nothing surprises me when it comes to Celtic, says Super Mac. The Celtic board, a bunch of muppets. Dan O'Neill's doing Celtic replica shirts, £30. Why would the embroidered one be cheaper? You would think that it would be the dearer one. I have no idea. Celtic are just bonkers and everything they do. Celtic board only imposed thing is to give us your money and shut up. Bring back the jungle. Take away the seats. That's what the standing section is, mate. The seats fold up when they're standing. There is no seats. It's the whole point in the standing section. Somebody goes around, puts in the pins, and locks them. Anyway. Let's just jump through some of these. I buy tops from China. They're too expensive, says Peter. Buys fakes. On one hand, I want the Green Brigade all together, bigger singing and in unison, no filler with old codgers. Oh man, Jesus! On the other, those old folk have probably been sitting there for years. It's their life. Shouldn't have been moved to a shitty seat. I think there's people that you've got to remember as well. The Celtic, the Green Brigade started the North Curve Celtic, which included people in the top half of the standing section. And then they got them to pay a subscription to be part of the North Curve Celtic. So they're bound to feel a bit disillusionment as well. The fact that, they'll be thinking, well, what part has the group had to play in this? Because it's a very messy situation, and it's a very Celtic situation, isn't it? Hated behind the goal next to away supporters. That's where they put families that used to get pelted with all sorts. To avoid to the Airdrie game was actually worse. Celtic should look at fans who love the new kit, but financially is out of their reach. This price of the kit is unfortunately leaving fans any chance of getting it, sadly. I think that Celtic don't take that into consideration at all. Celtic would just look at the fact that, a couple of seasons ago, they sold £34 million worth of merchandise in the 1 year. And that was sold to fans that go to games, fans that don't go to games, fans pretty much that have a connection with Celtic. There's not many folk getting it shipped around the world, I wouldn't have thought, from Celtic, but £34 million worth of merchandise is not bad for a club like Celtic. I think that, I mean, there was Leeds sold more than Celtic. It's quite a few other clubs did, but I mean, Celtic, I think Celtic were in the top 10 for the amount of merchandise sold by Adidas. Easy, ban them altogether. Lol. Well, there's one thing for sure. That's what Celtic will be thinking. Do you know, they'll be thinking, there's no way. We have to move those ultras. And it was like giving, you know, it was like offering Michael Nicholson his lunch on a gold-plated plate when he must have got the email from the boys saying, "Please, sir, can we move to 111?" He must have choked on his sandwich and spat his coffee out when he read the email. That's like Christmas come early for Michael Nicholson. He must have been there thinking, going, seriously, are they wanting to move? I can ban them all together. He would be thinking that because when obviously the Green Brigade were banned, they were turning up allegedly. Well, this is what I'm saying. What people said, some Green Brigades were turning up in that section. And listen, the club know who people are, so they would spot the fact that there were some known Green Brigade in the boys' section. The boys have not done enough to be banned themselves. Ultimately sat out a lot of games, but it will make it easier for Celtic to punish a majority of ultras rather than just the minority. Anyway, not looking to the boys in the Green Brigade, they're all scrapping for leadership. Oh, Pablo, don't. I think they're quite friendly just now. And long may that continue. If you supported the Not Another Penny campaign, then you can save a fortune. I have this year, Paul. And I'm still kind of like, so I wanted the tartan strip. People are saying, you buy it here, you buy it here, buy it here. The thing is, if you buy, even if you do buy it for JD Sports and stuff like that, Celtic are still making money off it. You know, not all the 34 million that was spent directly through Celtic. A lot of it would have been spent through JD Sports. I mean, I know that when I'm at the airport generally, at Edinburgh Airport, I nip into JD Sports and buy some Celtic stuff from there. But anyway, it is what it is, as I say. I meant take away the seats completely, sit in concrete steps. Ha! Jesus, Kev wants us to go back to... Yeah, that's not going to happen, is it? That's not going to happen. I'm in too many different boozers to wear Celtic gear. This is very true. It's very true. I stopped wearing Celtic tops. I used to wear them going to games. And then I was like, you know, and I was always just wear a green t-shirt. But anyway, yeah, if you're in town and you're nipping in and out of pubs, you're not going to be wearing Celtic tops if you're going to games. I get that. It's generally the people that are going to games are going to a pub that's a Celtic pub, or then just heading home after the game. Anyway, in more Celtic news, it is a massive weekend for Celtic. We do play Rangers on Sunday, 10th May. On this day, 9th May 1919. It's tomorrow. Just got me thinking of my gran there. Anyway, Saturday the 9th of May, Aberdeen play Dundee United. That'll be that used to be the new Firm. Can you remember when that game was called the New Firm? It didn't last long, did it? That was when Aberdeen and Dundee United were fantastic in Europe, and Celtic were mediocre, rubbish. Aberdeen were winning things. Dundee United were winning things. Dundee United beat Barcelona, if I'm correct. If my memory goes back that far. So it's Aberdeen, Dundee United this weekend. Dundee versus Livingston on the Saturday. Falkirk versus Hibernian. That'll be a good game because, St Mirren versus Kilmarnock. Grudge match, that one, isn't it? Because St Mirren trying to drag Kilmarnock down into that relegation. That's a dogfight, that one, at St Mirren's ground. Can Kilmarnock do anything there, or will St Mirren get their way? And then the big one on Saturday night. Saturday night football, 8 o'clock at night, Motherwell versus Heart of Midlothian. Madness, honestly. Scottish football is getting the absolute shittiest. I mean, who do they think they are? Do they think that they're in Spain? I mean, the reason that Spanish football play football at 9 o'clock at night rather than 8 o'clock, because it's a little bit cooler at 9 o'clock at night. Don't know, there's no need for a Scottish football game to be on at 8 o'clock at night on a Saturday night. That's just madness. It is just crazy. But anyway, it is on Sky, that game, and it'll be a fantastic watch. And let's hope Motherwell and a little defender at Motherwell can have the same reaction that he had against the Rangers a couple of weeks ago. And then there's the big one for us, and it's basically a near enough 40 million game, isn't it? Because whoever wins this game pretty much determine if they're going to finish, well, from a Celtic perspective, it will determine if they're going to finish first or second. For a Rangers perspective, it's a chance where they could maybe finish third or second. Both teams are vying for that Champions League place. If Celtic obviously win the league, it will be Hearts that finish second and Rangers will be out of it. Celtic can do the ultimate damage to Rangers in this game and make sure that they are nowhere near in contention for a Champions League place next season. Potential £40 million at stake. Listen, we know that both teams would have to go through qualifying rounds, and Celtic aren't the best. Will we have learned from the Karat Almaty? Oh, it gives me nightmares when I think back to that. Gives me absolute nightmares. Yes, Kieran, I'll do a watch along for that game. It gives me nightmares thinking about the Karat Almaty game, because having watched them in both legs before Celtic played them, and watched them play a team that Celtic demolished at Celtic Park in the Champions League 5-1 the season before, and you've seen how dogged, how organised. They weren't a great team, Karat Almaty, but when you've seen how organised they were and difficult to beat, you're thinking, this isn't going to be easy. People thought it was going to be, it's cool. We won't be going to 2 hours from China. It'll never happen. Yeah, bloody will happen. I watched the first leg, and it wasn't looking too clever. And anyway, it did happen. And then ultimately, Celtic came and had the same fate of said team. £40 million was at risk. Celtic didn't bring in players. Typical Celtic. Didn't bring in players for the game. Let us suffer with players that were wanting away. And the rest to say is history, which give us this season. This weekend's game, Celtic versus Rangers, will determine which one of the two clubs ultimately gets into the Champions League and which one doesn't. The qualifiers, And then on Tuesday, it's Aberdeen versus St Mirren, Dundee United versus Livingston, Kilmarnock versus Dundee. Wednesday night is the top six, Hearts versus Falkirk. That could be a tidy game because Falkirk could still be fighting in it for then. And it's a bit of a grudge match, that one as well. Falkirk manager would love nothing more to get in one over Hearts. And then you've got Motherwell versus Celtic. Massive game. Stephen Welsh will not be available for that game from a Motherwell perspective, which could be good for Celtic. And will we be watching a future potential Celtic manager that evening? It's still undecided, as far as the fans know. I don't even think Celtic know who the next manager is going to be. And then Hibernian travel to Ibrox versus Rangers. They could have a massive say. Hibernian are a team that are hard to beat. They played fantastic with 9 men against Hearts. Unlucky to get beat from Hearts. And they did well against Celtic. Can they ultimately just put Rangers out their misery for their last game? And I wonder how many fans will turn up to Ibrox on a Wednesday night on the 13th, the unlucky day for some. Oh, will it be unlucky for Celtic? It's not a Friday, so it's not Friday the 13th, so it's fine. It's just the 13th. So, and then we go to the final day of the season, Hearts versus Celtic. Will it be done and dusted by then, or will Celtic be in the chance of winning the league by beating Hearts on the day 2-1 to Celtic? That's my prediction for the final game of the season, and I'm standing by that, and that will be the result that will win Celtic the league title. And then on the 17th, there are the bottom six, which I always find it strange that the bottom six kind of play off, they play the day after, because it kind of takes away the shine from the team that wins the league, doesn't it? I mean, it should be that you have the last day of the season, team wins the league, they get the trophy, hurrah, and that's it. Pull the curtain down on football. But nah, I'm not in Scotland. It's like, well, we're going to have some more games just to take the back newspapers away from you, really. And Dundee versus Aberdeen. We know that Livingston are down and out, nothing to play for, but could they drag Kilmarnock into the relegation battle with them that day? Will that be enough? And can St Mirren beat Dundee United that day also? And then there is the playoff fixtures in Scottish football, as they say. Potential 100 million lost from one season's complacency. Yeah. It's mind-boggling when you think of the money, when you look at the turnover. And what will be the big wake-up call will be the AGM this coming October, when Celtic release the data to show how much money. And you'll get a lot of Celtic fans go, serves them right. They're not another penny campaign's worth. I think that the big chunk of the cash will be the fact that we had no Champions League football. 30 odd million to potential 40 million reduction in income whilst the wage bill stayed the same. Celtic will know that they will have to balance the books somehow. And people saying, but we've got this money in the bank. Well, Celtic will say, well, we've proved you right then. We've proved ourselves right by keeping this money in the bank. 4 seasons we don't get in the Champions League. We've been right. You're wrong. That's what the Celtic board will say at the AGM next year. Who will be at the AGM? We still don't know. There is a couple of places on the board. Will Michael Nicholson be there? It's looking like he still will, unless something dramatic happens in the summer. Will Chris Mackay still be there? It's looking like that both those will still be there at that AGM. Will have anything changed? No, you'll probably still have not another penny campaign. Anyway, what a bloody sad note to end of. Definitely ask you for me. I watched an interview podcast he attended, Simon Ferry. Brilliant to listen to. He's a leader. He has vision. Do you think if Motherwell beat Hearts, then our game will be massive against Sevco? This is very, very true. Karat. Now, we're terrible. We were miles underprepared. Liam, sorry. Yeah. And it's not as if we warned people on this channel before we even played them, because we actually watched the game on the watch along. Both ties. So it was it was very interesting that we knew what was coming, but the Celtic, the people who watch games for Celtic were so unprepared for it. And it's like, well, we knew if fans can sit and watch a game and say, this is how they're playing, this isn't going to be easy. And everybody's like, it's a doddle, they're shite, they're 2 hours for China, what do they know about football? They're going to the Champions League and we're no, watch this. Anyway, now you're just looking at the past, as they say. Um, I'm on it, Scott. I don't think that we will get this one over the line after last weekend's game. If we don't get the league over the line, I don't think that there will. I mean, will there be a lot of disappointment from Celtic fans if they don't win the league? It's a hard one because we all want Celtic to do fantastically well. We all want the best for Celtic, and we all think that Celtic can do it. Um, if Hearts do win the league, it'll be a case of they deserve it. They've been the most consistent. Consistency and hard work outbeats talent that doesn't do the hard work all day long. All day long. You don't have to be great at something to win. Hearts are showing us that. You don't have to be the best players. And people will then say, well, how can we not do it in the Champions League? Just because we just don't put the effort in. What McInnes has given Hearts is hard work and commitment. It's what he's, the team that he's produced. There's no, I wouldn't say there was any real big superstars in the making in that team. Don't even think Braga's a superstar in the making, but yeah, it is what it is. If we don't get it over the line, it's going to be a bloody long summer, a summer of us waiting. But and you've got to remember, in Martin O'Neill's final season, when he was here 25 years ago, he lost the league, but won the Scottish Cup. Could history be about to repeat itself? It's looking maybe like it, but we'll wait and see. But we'll try and stay positive, and we'll try and sort of make sure that everyone goes to games. We'll try and back the team as much as we can to get it over the line. But if we do drop points this weekend, it's going to be very, very. Two identical sitters missed by Maeda in both games. Not blaming him. It matters so. Good morning from Dublin. After that game, Martin O'Neill over Carrot basically said he wanted the Celtic job. Lol. Did he? Can't remember that because there was no talk of Brendan Rodgers leaving at that point. Don't know. Too many players not turning up week in, week out. This is our time to show our character, but we never know what Celtic will turn up. This is very true, mate. You don't know. We know that the players have the talent. Martin O'Neill could sit in interviews at Celtic TV and go, "Yeah, the squad's brilliant. I see the boys in training every day and they look brilliant." Come on, I heard Paulo Bernardo getting a shitload of praise on the Lennox Town Unfiltered video. Yet Paulo Bernardo can't get near the team. We brought in Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, which pushed Paulo Bernardo further down the pecking order. Even Rio Hatate, do you know what I mean? But it's a crazy, crazy time. Crazy time. He went on a rant, Baz, and stopped short of saying he'd do the job. Watch it again. No thanks. It just give me memories of how the season's unfolded. If we don't win the league, it'll be the board to blame. No one else. It'll be responsible. Yeah, it will be the board. And I think that they know it. And I think that that's why they're forever grateful for Martin O'Neill keeping. A lot of people have said it in the comments. If Celtic win the league, if Celtic do win the league on the last day of the season, it's stick and plaster stuff. The board will say that they were right. They made the decisions at the right time. They were right to try and bring in Wilfred Nancy because they were thinking long term. You can read them like a script, mate. They will say that it didn't work out, so they got rid of him in time before there was too much damage done, and we were still able to go on and win the league under Martin O'Neill. There we go. And we were right to keep all that money back because we lost 40 million and not being in the Champions League, but we were able to spend this summer because we kept the money in the bank. Now, give us even more money. It's bonkers, isn't it? If Hearts are brilliant this season, then the only one game behind them, so it can't be that bad, or Hearts are shite as well. Hearts aren't great. They're, but what they do have is, I mean, you're listening to John Hartson on the video last night. John Hartson said that Hearts have got, they get it over the line. Winning games. I said this back in December. Hearts are doing what Celtic are not. Stealing a game by one goal. And when you keep on doing that, you build a momentum. You don't need to win 4-5 now. Celtic fans over the last 10 years have been used to teams roller coasting over teams and destroying teams on the pitch and winning 5-6. You know, we even had 9-0 against Aberdeen at one point. And good fast attacking football that destroys everything in front of them. When you lose that edge as a football team, the team that just keeps on plodding along and winning games 1-0, they're the ones to watch. And they don't play great football, very defensive. You've seen it against Rangers. They were really defensive against Rangers the first half. And you're sitting looking at them and going, where's the Hearts that played against Hibs last week and completely destroyed Hibs in the first half? You've got to remember that Hibs scored against the run of play against Hearts. That game was a shock to Hearts. Do you know what I mean? Where did that goal come from? Hibs could have been 2-0 up in that game against the run of play. It was all Hearts that were attacking. Hibs got a break. Oof, goal. Hibs had another break and they missed it. Could have been 2-0 before Hearts had a chance to go, what the heck? But then ultimately Hibs get 2 players sent off. Hibs have to go into really defensive mode, and then Hibs spent the second half hardly getting out their own half. Do you know what I mean? So Hearts, whilst they're in that position, are not a great team. It shows you how far that Celtic have fallen and fallen and fallen. And the performance level. You can have players like Callum McGregor going, performance level's not there. What exactly he's doing in training every week? You know, we were blaming the backroom staff at the beginning of the season for the training methods and all the rest of it. But there hasn't been a big jump in performance levels since Martin O'Neill's came in. You know, there's not been Callum McGregor dominating midfields. You know, it is what it is this season. Celtic usually have the league wrapped up. Can't even say that right. Celtic usually have the league wrapped up by now. Yes, this is true. The Broad bringing us down to SPFL team level, but still charging tickets for English Premier League prices. Nah, that says green smoke. Yep. Our season ticket, 700 and whatever quid it is more expensive than my cousin's Manchester United season ticket. Do you think the board will have the brass neck to take all the plaudits if we win the title? Of course they will, Typhoon McFlustery. They'll sit at the AGM in October and they'll sit there all chuffed to bits and say, well, of course they will. All I need tomorrow is a draw, even if a Motherwell win is ideal. We would have a lot more point if Casper Blobby hadn't been in goals, he cost us a lot, says Big Rob. Talking about Casper, I see that Alan Ruff, if anybody's old enough and they remember Alan Ruff as a Celtic goalkeeper, Alan Ruff says that Casper should keep his legacy intact after his time at Celtic. He should still have a big legacy at Celtic for what he's achieved. Only Alan Ruff could come out with that. Only Alan Ruff could come out with that. But anyway, that's enough about Ruffy and his goalkeeping exploits in the late 1970s, early 80s. Celtic have win the most games out of the top 3 this season. I think that Celtic, I can't wait for the season to be over, to be honest. Why does Celtic always mix a trick? John McGinn. Miss a trick, John McGinn. Well, you see that John McGinn could be a European. You just know that Aston Villa are going to win the Europa, aren't they? It's And if John McGinn does go on to win the Europa with Aston Villa, fair play to him. Don't know. But it all comes down to the board. Once again, that was Peter Lawwell. Don't know. Peter Lawwell tried to phone McGinn when he was driving down the M6. Nah, mate, you're too late. But come on, your granddad would love you at the club. Fuck off. Beat it. His legacy has been damaged so much it's unbelievable. This board has a brass neck for anything. Pete Hartson will be welcomed on board with open arms. Lol. SQ. What did Casper achieve that wasn't different to any other keeper in the last 2.5 decades? Who has the best? Who has more medals? No, this is a funny. It's not. Well, it is a funny one. Who has more medals, Casper Schmeichel or Scott Bain? That's all you need. Is, do you know when people try to talk up Casper Schmeichel, you'd be as well going, Scott Bain was a better keeper. He's got the medals to prove it. Bonkers, isn't it? But anyway, that is me. Who's your ideal manager for next season? It's a guy that looks as if he's now going to be in the Premiership with his team down south. And it's the same guy that I wanted back in December. But I don't think that he will be the next Celtic manager, unfortunately. So I think it doesn't really matter who we want or who we think is going to be the ideal manager. Don't know, but we have to put. I think we just sit back and don't get excited about it and just wait till the announcement is made. We're either going to be over the moon ecstatic, or you'll got some people want to go away in a darkened room and take an unknown substance and an unknown quantity of an unknown substance of some shit made in somebody's kitchen. Just to numb the pain. Yes, McKenna. Yes, McKenna. I wanted McKenna back in December. Kieran McKenna. I think that he's for what he's doing and what he's done, and especially with his youth policy. I just think that he fits Celtic like a glove, and I'd love to have him at Celtic. I just think that he ticks. You can understand. I mean, I say that when we brought in Wilfred Nancy, you can understand why Celtic went for him, and they didn't go for McKenna. McKenna didn't want to leave mid-season. They didn't want to pay the compensation. But anyway, we'll wait and see. McKenna would have been a great manager, but I don't see the board spending $3 million a year on a manager. Well, they spent $3 million a year on, and they offered $3 million a year to Ange. They gave Brendan Rodgers that money. That's if you want a good manager and you want a manager that can come in. That's the money that Celtic are going to have to pay, unfortunately. If you want a manager that's going to come in and turn the club around from up here and down here in the club, you know, all aspects of the club, we're going to have to pay $3 million. Whether you think that that's a good deal or not, it's the going rate for these guys. And I want someone that will look at Celtic, and it's all about getting the right man. This is it's an interesting manager appointment this time, because Celtic will be looking for someone that will take the club forward for at least a 3 to 4 year period, potentially. We all know that in Scottish football, if a manager at Celtic does well over 2 years, the vultures from down south come in flying. Oof. Oh, I wonder if he could do a job in the English Premiership. Oh, let's take him away from Celtic. You know, you realistically get 2 good years out of a manager, and then Celtic just do what Celtic do. You know, they piss off the manager in the beginning of the third year, and the rest is history. Same old crap, but no matter who the manager is, the board are shit mongers. It's true, mate. It is true. Klopp is only doing the Travago ads. Jurgen Klopp at Celtic. That would be different level stuff. Would it happen? Would Celtic even have the balls to go and ask Klopp? Do you know what I mean? Would they? We couldn't afford Klopp. Um, we all know that we need to spend to have a great manager and players, but do this out of touch board. They need to go. I don't think it's just the board. I do think it's the man who runs the business from afar. Peter King says, don't think we can afford them now. Even I mentioned McKenna before. Rodgers, says Paul Baird, golden back a few years now. A good manager will attract good players. Morning, Chris. How are you? Down under. With that being said, if you're picking a manager that's been down at Ipswich Town, what kind of reputation does he have to attract big name players? Don't know. It's maybe maybe if Celtic do get, I think that Celtic only attract players if we're in the Champions League. They only attract good players if they've got a chance to play in the Champions League. That's all. Let's be honest. That's the only reason that a lot of players come to Celtic. One, to get a couple of winners' medals, so that they've got that in their career. Because a lot of people, once they leave Celtic, they never win anything again. So at least they get it in the bag. They know that they're going to finish their career and they've got a couple of winners' medals. They've played in the Champions League and then they get a chance to move on to one of these top 5 leagues. Everyone knows that Celtic are a stepping stone. We need to bring in a manager, and we need a manager that will turn around. And honestly, when he sits with Dermot Desmond, and I hope that the next manager at Celtic has been watching Celtic for the past 5 years, will have watched interviews, will pick up the phone to Ange Postecoglou before he even agrees to anything. Do you know, as soon as he gets the call, Dermot Desmond wants to speak to you. The first thing that I would do, if it was, say I was in position to have been a great football manager, and you've kind of known Celtic, and you hear the murmurings that Celtic might be interested, and then you get the call from your agent. Dermot Desmond wants to phone you. Say, right, tell him to phone me tomorrow. And then you say to your agent, get me the number of Ange Postecoglou, Brendan Rodgers, and I want to speak to the two of them before I speak to Dermot Desmond. And because I want to speak to people that have been in the trenches there and know what to expect. I know how I will run the club, but I want to know what to expect from Celtic. And I think that any decent manager worth his salt picks up the phone to they two first and go, you know, you were promised the earth at the beginning, and it'll be a recurring story. You walk in the door, you pick up, you get that phone call, you're promised the earth from Dermot. The reality is you get it the first transfer window. Second transfer window is a bit iffy. The time that you get through to the second season, they're still believing you a little bit, but the time you get to the end of that season, they're on about cutting back again. You phone up Dermot and he goes, they run the club. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. You know, I hope it's no Clark Dower football. There's no way, no way. Baz, mad looking white teeth and beard. He could be Klopp. It's not my fault I've got white teeth. Win on Sunday and guarantee Celtic a shot at the Champions League football next season, which could attract decent players and managers for next season. Don't say it in plural, Scott. Don't say managers. We've had enough managers to do us 4 or 5 seasons in one season. You know? Don't ever put it in plural again. That'd just be rug pulled the minute you're in, I think. Yeah, this is true. And I wouldn't ask Brendan Rodgers' opinion on anything, Baz, to be honest. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would be my pick. Sometimes wonder about you, mate. I do. Don't know, I need to watch too much Rangers TV still. Anyway, that has been done and dusted for this morning. Thank you to everyone who has been on the live this morning. We started off this morning's Celtic news with the fact that Celtic have put out an email to all affected in the safe standing area. The 170 odd people, 174 I think it is, fans that are getting moved. They've been told that they are getting moved, but they might not be getting moved out the rail seating section. There are people that want to move out the rail seating section, and it's all a very Celtic mess, isn't it? It's and then the price of the strips are unbelievable. And let's just do a quick check. Casper Schmeichel, yeah, there's now Celtic fan media writing about the fact that Casper Schmeichel deserves all the credit, says Alan Ruff. Alan Ruff is a Celtic keeper. He was a fat goalkeeper back then as well. I know he's a big lad, but he was, yeah, he was, yeah. Anyway, that's enough about him. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. I will be back this afternoon once Martin O'Neill has spoken to the media, so it will not be an 8 o'clock kickoff. It will be earlier than that this Friday. If we win this league, it's one qualifying game second, and it's 3. Jesus. Baz, you should check Pot San Francisco Glens top. It's a new cracker. It's more like the Hoops top. Interesting. Sponsored by Guinness. Now that's a Celtic top that would sell, wasn't it? Wait a minute here. Why don't Celtic do that? See if Celtic want to give big love bombs. That's a top that would just go, oof, get rid of Daff a bit, right? Just get rid of Daff a bit and get Guinness. Oof. Guinness emblazed on a Celtic top. Oh, but happy days, man. Happy days. Anyway, musical chairs for fans at Celtic Park. Next, it'll be Pass the Parcel to reveal the manager. And that was just the manager's job this season. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are all around the world. Where's this button again? It's closed down the screen. See you later.